Hi guys, I'm Karis K. Wilson. Welcome back to my channel. If you're an ambitious undergraduate student, graduate student, or young professional, then you are in the right place. In today's video, I'll be talking about how to choose which graduate school is best for you. So just generally speaking, before we get into kind of the different steps and things that you want to consider, you want to just consider your overall goals and what you're doing in order to get to those goals and how this program is going to help you do that. So tip number one, and the first thing that you want to consider, is faculty. And that just means those who are going to be teaching your classes and your courses, and how you connect and jive and gel with them, and how they can assist you with getting to your goals. So you'll find that, yes, they're going to help you with regards to teaching the class, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. A lot of times you'll have an advisor in those faculty members, and so it's going to be different than kind of undergrad where you had an advisor that was specific to just like the college, and they had kind of like, A through L for last names. And so while those academic advisors are wonderful and they help you, of course, if you reach out or just in general, they help you with it, but it's going to be a bit of a closer relationship in graduate school with your advisor and also usually faculty. And so they're going to help you really navigate your experience and make sure that you're getting what you need, whether it's via them just kind of sharing with you or you asking questions. It depends on how hands-off or hands-on they are. And so that's something you want to consider. But you want to get to know the faculty and you want to make sure that they're clear about what your goals are and how they can help you achieve your goals. Because at the end of the day, that is why you're attending the grad program. Relationships are great, building bonds and everything. That's all great. But at the end of the day, those relationships are good, along with them helping you to move forward and find and achieve what it is you're trying to achieve. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's the ultimate reason you're at the program, is to advance in your career, in your education, and again, have the life that you're kind of seeking or wanting for yourself, and not necessarily financially, but just in general. I mean, people do a variety of different things for a variety of different reasons. You want to make sure the faculty vision for you is aligned with your vision for yourself. So tip number two, and thing that you want to consider when you're trying to decide which school you should go to with regard to graduate school, is funding. So you definitely want to make sure that you have funding. As you probably saw watching my last few videos, funding is important. And again, as I said in my last video, someone once shared with me that you do not want to just go to a program and pay for school. You never want to pay for graduate school, is what I was saying in my previous video that someone shared with me. And so you really want to not only make sure that they have funding accessible, but understand the types of funding they offer. So a lot of times schools will offer graduate assistantships. They can come in forms of being a graduate teaching assistant, being a graduate research assistant. There are also fellowships. And so I've actually been fortunate enough to have all three. I just thought about that. I've been fortunate enough to have all three. So I've had a fellowship when I was at the University of Kentucky in my undergraduate program. I've also been a graduate teaching assistant, and I've also been a graduate research assistant. So those are all different. So usually fellowships are really great, and they're just really good because they usually offer you either full funding with the opportunity to focus fully on your program, your studies, your research, especially if you're a doctoral student. So those are really great. There are some fellowships who offer you a much more reduced like teaching load or research load with regard to someone else's kind of like, not someone else's work, but like teaching a class or someone else's like research projects or assignments, or like working within a department that does research. So usually that's the way I typically have seen fellowships laid out. You also have graduate teaching assistants. So those who receive those assistantships usually teach they usually teach the kind of full entirety of the semester. They usually all teach the same load. Generally speaking, you don't have kind of usually fluctuations in like what one student has or what another student has within a department. So it's not like fellowships in that way, but you usually teach, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 classes. Sometimes you teach 1 class. It just depends kind of on how the program is set up. But I think I've typically seen more so students teach about 2 classes or teach 1 class like twice a week, I guess. So yeah, there's just different ways that the teaching assistants can be set up, but usually students either teach a few different classes, meaning 2, or they'll teach a few different like discussion sections, or there'll be a grader for 1 or 2 discussion sections or classes or courses. And then there is the graduate research assistant. So that can look various different ways. And so if you guys don't know, I'm currently a graduate teaching assistant and I'm a graduate research assistant. And so I'm a graduate teaching assistant that I teach 3 different discussion sections of the same class. And then I also am a graduate research assistant, and then I work as an assistant to the McNair Scholars Program here at OU, which helps undergraduate students prepare to apply for PhD programs. And so they're actively performing peer-reviewed academic-led research in a specific area, and it's everything from like STEM field to communication. But they usually have a mentor, and they work alongside their mentor to do most of their research. But I also come in and help with just different various phases and aspects of their process with regard to preparing to apply to doctoral programs, getting their research, or making sure that it's kind of on track with regard to how they present at conferences and a various amount of things. There's also research assistants who do perform like research for a particular faculty member or a particular program. So there's different levels and variations to it, but funding is really important in grad school, and it's important to understand the different kind of areas that you can get funding from. So you can get like scholarships still, you can get fellowships, teaching assistants, and research assistants are some of the most common ones that you can receive. So with graduate school, you want to consider the culture. So culture means, again, the feeling, I think we all kind of have this kind of gut feeling and innate feeling within us when we gel with people, right? Like if you meet someone, you kind of feel like know a little bit, like, oh, this person seems like they may be my speed. Or I think it's the same thing with schools. I think it's the same thing with graduate programs and just kind of the university culture as a whole. Because while you will be in the graduate program, and I say for people to focus on this, and I think most people would agree that you really want to focus on that kind of culture that exists within the program and kind of how you feel in that moment when you're interacting with faculty, current students, potential students. You also want to consider the university and the culture as a whole. You're going to be teaching, if you're getting whether you're teaching or not, you're more than likely going to be interacting with the student body as a whole at some point, whether it's through teaching or maybe it's through you volunteering and working with the department to promote their undergraduate like services or programs or majors that they offer. So you want to be very clear and have a feel for the culture and the student body, because a lot of faculty talk about this. I used to hear them talk about this in undergrad, maybe just because I used to be interested to hear what they had to say. There's a lot of faculty that don't necessarily come from the university that you're attending, and so they usually got their graduate or their undergraduate degree for sure, or typically, and then definitely their graduate degrees for sure at another place most times. And so they are very clear, they meaning faculty, are very clear when they go to a different university, or once they've been to a few universities, that cultures and students and ways in which things operate are very different, and it can be shocking. And it can be something that, quite frankly, you don't like and that doesn't gel with you. So you want to know this when you're going into the program, so you can be either prepared or that you can maybe choose a different option if you have other various viable options that make sense for your goals. So that's something to consider as well. So the next thing that you want to consider when trying to decide which graduate school to go to is fit, specifically as it relates to the program, specifically as it relates to PhD students. If you're considering a doctoral degree, fit is really important, because when we say fit, we're talking about, does your research align with the faculty member you want to work with, or the faculty members in the department? Does it align with what their research goal is? Does it align with what the program says that they do? There's usually like an overall kind of identity that the program has. And so, like, for example, like if you're talking about any school that's out there, if they specialize in journalism, they may say that we specifically cater to those who want to study sports journalism via the online web. And so that's very specific. So if you go there trying to do broadcast journalism and work on and do hard news, you may find yourself in a place where they really can't, even if they're very kind and nice to you, because sometimes that can be kind of like, okay, why did you come here if it wasn't a fit? Some are like that. Some are very kind to you. Kindness doesn't really help you navigate the job market. It doesn't, I'm not trying to be harsh, but it doesn't really, kindness can only get you so far with regard to, people can be nice to you, but at the end of the day, when you need help to navigate stuff, you want to really have resources to pull on. You don't want to be in this bind, in this situation, and it pains me when I see students in that. And, you know, I'm speaking just from, again, having all these different experiences and talking with students and people. You really want to be informed about kind of the fit of the program, what you're doing while you're doing it. So again, I think graduate school in general, it's important to understand how the program fits into what you're trying to do and fit, but especially as it relates to PhD, because if you're trying to go into academia or or just anything, you want to have someone that can help you navigate the process, because it's going to be a long one. It is definitely a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you don't want to be in a place where you can't, those who are in the program, meaning the faculty members in the program, can't inform you or help you, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because that's not what they do. Their program is specific to, as the example I gave, sports journalism, and specifically via the online web. It's not about, broadcast journalism with regard to hard news and that sort of thing. And so you really want to make sure you have a good grasp on that and that you understand that. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I post these videos every week. Make sure that you go and listen to my podcast as well, which is located in the podcast playlist. Also, you can access my podcast on Apple Podcast or Podbean, and that's Bean, so Podbean, Podbean, not Beam. And also go over and join with me on social media. I have an Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you guys and just talk and share just different tips and advice that I can help you guys with, if it means you moving closer to your goals and your dreams. And so, as you guys know, this is the area I'm so passionate about, and I really want you guys to win, and just want you to go into the process being more informed, because when I say it breaks my heart when I don't see people happy or feeling like they were informed in the process, it really does. And I like to see people within society thrive and just do the best that they can, be happy. So with that being said, make sure that you keep a lookout for my video next week, which, remember, I told you was going to be kind of a shift in content, which is if you're an undergrad, if you should take a car to school with you your first year, my thoughts on that and things to consider. And then after that, I do a video the following week talking about how to, and if you should go to a four-year university versus a community college. So kind of comparing those two and giving you guys kind of like my top 3 things to think about if you're in a place where you're like, okay, I'm going to be a student and I need to know, what do I think about if I'm thinking about going to a four-year university or a community college? We talk about that in that video. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video, and see you guys next week, and on social media, and Twitter and LinkedIn and TikTok and just all the different social media platforms. I am on there, and I hope that content is providing value and helping you guys. And feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, and leave your comments in the comment section below. See you next week. Bye, guys. Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Karis K Wilson YouTube channel. If you're interested in receiving more content and information about how to navigate your undergraduate experience, your graduate experience, or your experience as a young professional, then go ahead and hit the subscription button and the notification bell. If you're also interested in receiving collegiate news updates or breaking news, then also go ahead and hit the subscription button and hit the notification bell. See you in the next video. Bye guys.